3M has a question first. Not related. Do you have Tal, and do you use him on Talios for Actians? I'll unlock him tomorrow and curious what ship would suit me as Ops 44, since you don't have a G4 rare to use. So I do have Tal. I have not tried him out. I use him on the Pylum and things like that. We were talking about this like a week or so ago. Like, what tier would you have to get your Talios and stuff up to? Because the Talios is ridiculous in terms of what it has for cargo space, right? I mean, mine's tier 7. I've got 3.5 million. If I could take this ship into Actian space and just go grind, you know, those ships for a while, the Apexes, couldn't think of the name for a second. Like, how much loot could I get per hull? And I think I tried like 44s or 46s last time we talked about this. Let's take one, just because. I'm going to make a switch here. I want to make sure I've got Gallinar below decks. I don't here. Let's make sure we get him there, because I want the extra loot drop that he's going to provide here. He's going to give me an extra 15%. I've got her for extra cargo. I should probably take Hugh. You know, I probably don't need her. We're not going to get anywhere near her cargo capacity. Let's do this first. Let's grab Hugh. Because even though we're doing burning, we're still going to hit things, right? And as long as we're hitting things, we want to get max damage value for doing it. Hugh's not the greatest on Actian hostiles, but I'll still take my chances with him. What's the name of the clan? It should be my name. It should be Tibbs, I think is the name of the alliance. So I think we tried a little bit higher ones. Let's see if we go down to like 43s. See if there's anybody in this system. Like what we could do here and how this might work. Richie says one of those promotions is how you even got into STFC. Yeah, sometimes they're a good thing. They expose you to new games and things like that maybe you wouldn't otherwise find. And, you know, I myself have been a fan of the Final Fantasy franchise since the original games on the regular Nintendo. I remember getting like my Nintendo Power and having like look up and read the maps and trying to figure out like, you know, where within some of the dungeons and things you actually had to go to get stuff. And this is like before the internet, right? Where you actually had to print like guidebooks and walk through guides. Tendi for extra hull might have helped. It might have been an option. Or do I have Tendi on there and I didn't even realize it? Oh no, I've got Rutherford for extra shield. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Brain Soup says, this is the part of STFC you love lately, looking for different ways to do things. Yeah. You know, I mean, if game design is going to build their game a certain way, and they're going to try to steer us toward doing things that's either going to take a long time to try to frustrate us to the point where we then pay to speed things up, well, then it's up to us as the well-educated player to find loopholes and things like that to get around some of this stuff and see if we can't make our own path through the bushes. It's what's called a desire path, right? I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard that term before. So say you're out in like a big, like you're at like a, we used to have these all the time at college. So you've got the paved little cart path and things like that. That's the walkway that's supposed to go from the dorms, you know, across the quad to the campus, you know, to the dining hall, to the, you know, the classrooms and things like that. And then there's like this big grassy field, and right through the middle of the grassy field, there's just a dirt path. because that's where all the students walked, because it's a more direct and straight route to where they want to go, and that they've killed all the grass along the way. And that's what's called the desire path, because they desired to have a path there that they then went ahead and created one of their own. And sometimes that's what you have to do with a lot of different things, you know? The people who designed it want you to go up and then over, and you're like, screw it, I'm going straight through the middle. All right. So 43s are still doing a pretty decent chunk of damage to me. Now, normally when I do this with my Pilum, I can hold 300,000 cargo capacity. I get the 300,000. I've got about, 35, 40% hull left. These particular guys, these fights are going the full 18 rounds, which is about what you would expect a fight to go with Tal and Giorgio, is somewhere between 18 and 20 rounds if they're doing most of the damage. And if we look at the battle log here, you can see they are doing most of the damage. Now, obviously, as your Talios tiers up and gets stronger, this may be a more viable strategy. The other option may be to just rank down even lower. Maybe 43s are even too high. We can try a little lower. So, remember when the internet didn't exist? Sadly, I do. I do remember when the internet didn't exist. I am that old. Soup just discovered using Franklin A with Jayla to stock up on the assimilated Ferengi traders. You do get the extra payouts on those currencies. Yeah. So we're still getting less than I would normally. So I'd either have to go one of two ways. I either have to go hit a little higher, because I'm probably still going to get the same number of kills if I kill 44s or 45s. Because again, Tal and Giorgio are doing most of the work. So maybe we'll shift some people around. Where's Tendi? She's here. Let's take her. So let's try this. We'll take this last kill or two, and then we'll die. Frankie says that his tier 9 Talios going up against 49s gets him 550,000 Actian loot. And your tier 9 probably has like 3.5 to 4 million cargo space, so it's better than what you're getting, what I'd be getting out of a Pilum, right? I'm getting 320,000 with my Pilum, so obviously 500k is much better. That's 2 or 3, depending on, again, on the tier and the refineries. That could be a couple of double pulls or multiple days of pulls. Let's make some adjustments here. Try searching for 2187. Maybe it's under that. Olympus says, better than using Jayla, just log in right after server maintenance, because all of the things will have been reset. That's another option for you, sure. Below deck ability, we want Tendi instead of Rutherford. That'll give us a little more health and stuff. Uh, let's do that. And let's swap some stats and see if that also makes a difference. All right. Let's go up. Let's go try these 45s. Is that for my Discord? No, that's for within the Final Fantasy game. I did create a guild. So Commander Reigns was asking how to find my guild to join it. So I was just telling him what to search for. Getting the kids to bed. Oh, it is that time already. Would you look at that? Discord is something I am going to have to create, though. I think I said I would, once I got to like 2,000 YouTube followers, I'd be like, okay, now I think I'm actually at the point where it makes sense for me to have my own Discord server. And I think I'm up to like 1,750 now. So what's probably going to be my project this summer is actually creating my own Discord server. Which we're going to, I guess I'm going to have to learn how to do that. Silver Taylor, thank you very much for the follow as well. Welcome on in. And so simple a kid could do it. I think that might be the other way around, though. It's, you know, it's like when you have those child safety locks on the cabinet and stuff like that. Only the kid can get them open. It's one of those weird little things. Now, it doesn't look like it's overly complicated, so. But I want it to be like a cool Discord server. Like, no. I don't know if that's the case. All right, so what do we got here? So here's a guy with his 12 million strength mantis. He's got about 270,000 loot on his, this is a tier 11, I guess, I'm going to guess. Okay. We're just going to let him, he's probably close to done. So we're just going to let him power through this stuff real quick. I only need to learn the parts of Discord that I need. Well, that's also very true, right? Finney says, in about 5 years, people will have to search for videos on the internet on how to open car doors manually. Did you know that there's many people who don't know that on most cars, since everything has the little automatic buttons, like, oh, I don't see a place to put a key. Most of them have like a handle on the door knob itself, on the door handle, that you can slide over to reveal where you can actually put the key in still. Like if for some reason your clicker stops working because the battery died or just because the thing broke, you can still get into your car. But there are actually YouTube videos on that subject, and they have tens of thousands of views, and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe I never knew that was there. It's like, yep. But again, that's something that, you know, kids in their teens and 20s and things like that, every car they've ever seen has had one of those remote entries. So, like, trying to figure out where to put a key into a door, like they figure out how to do that to get into their house. But in terms of doing it to get into their car, it's never been a thought that's ever occurred to them before. So they didn't know what they didn't know. The same with the push to start engines. You can just lift the button up and put the key in. Okay. All right, so that fight, all right, we still took some damage. But we got 16,000 loot. Yeah, the Talios might be good. It might just need more levels to get there before it's actually, you know, putting the dent in enough. And again, I could go rank down, right? Like I could go kill like 37s if I wanted to spend all afternoon doing it, but I could get 2 or 3 million loot maybe off of one hull. So Going bigger did not seem to be the way to go. So we'll try going smaller and see if it makes a difference. So what was I killing before? 43s? 43s. So we'll go down even further, because I have a few of these extra things floating around. And I'm fairly well stocked on Actian loot for the next couple days anyway, so we can experiment with this stuff a little bit. Oh, other unrelated note. But for those of you who have been here for a little while, we tried a couple months back to do this guest star feature so I could actually bring other people on the channel and actually have them like come join the show and talk live, or actually pull people up from the audience and have them talk live. But we were having an issue with the sound where I could hear them, but you guys couldn't hear them. And I may have found the toggle in OBS that wasn't working that might have fixed that. So that'll definitely be something we'll have to test out to see if we've got that working right. So we can actually start using that feature. Alright, so we died. What did we end up getting? About 135,000. Okay. So on the 45s, we got 135,000. We got 140,000 on the 43s. So let's go the other way. Let's go down here. Let's go down to some 41s, and we'll give this a try. Can you rant? Depending on the topic. Depending on the topic. You want to be the guinea pig, GP? You want to come on and you want to yell and scream about stuff? Frankie Bones is asking, have I said what 53 ship I'm going for? It's going to be the Vorcha. So I have the faction rep for both Klingon and Romulan. But because I got the Tribune, I only have 100,000 Romulan credits versus 370,000 Klingon credits. And it takes 450 to get the ship, but I also already have about 20 or 19 Vorcha blueprints. So I'm pretty close to being there right now. Might have to use a multi-phasic or two just to get the rest of the Klingon currency, or just use Latinum to get the rest of those blueprints. But yeah, it's going to be the Vorcha. Vorcha is a funny way to say Northcut. I don't have the rep for that. I did not go fed. I mean, I'm tri-locked at 1 billion, so it wouldn't be too much to grind out, but... Alright, so let's see how we're doing. Okay, so... Let's see if this is going any better. Your Corvus eats Northcuts, or your Corvus eats Vorchas? Really? Now that's interesting. I would not expect that to be the answer, because we know Battleship Strike Team is the strongest of the 3 strike teams. So it would make sense if you were in a perfect world there that hitting against the combat triangle would not go well for that, but maybe that could be a topic you come on and explain to me how that works. Olympus says, why not both? And it might be a thing where, as I accumulate Romulan credits and things, maybe I will work on the Corvus and pick up extra blueprints for it, because I already have a handful for that as well, from doing a couple of missions and stuff too. They do come up in event stores. I think in the last event store you could get 15, because they only let you buy 10%. Oh, I got Fed messages. Look at that right there. Let's do that. And I may end up with both. I may end up getting both, because it's going to take forever to go from 53 to 56 to actually get one of the rares, I would think. Because of the research you've got done? Okay. If you don't spend a lot, don't do that. See, that's what usually it comes down to, is you can't afford to buy more. If you want to get even level up one ship, you're pretty much already slowing down your progression. If you want to level up both, you're pretty much going to be at a standstill. You're not going to have any materials left to do any building upgrades or anything. Yeah. Well, if I spend like $600 for all the new primes and stuff like that, well, then it won't be a problem. No, not buying them. We're not going to buy them. But if they come up with a path to earn those primes, and I eventually do earn them, and then other ships get to be cheaper, well, then it might make a little more sense. What are we going to get here? Well, we might get a little more out of the 41s. Still not going to be more than hitting up, but, well, with the Pilum. But at least there's potential for this to work someday. If the Talios, I've seen people who have 20, 30, 50 million, 70 million strength Talioses. So the potential is certainly there if you can get the ship big enough to be able to do this. So